Welcome back to Technology. This is a Ethers tutorial. So here are the prerequisites. So first thing we're going to do is create our contract. So for now we'll just name it dashboard.sol. First let's create our pragma. And let's go into extensions. So let's get the Solidity extension. And because this is an Ethers hard hat tutorial, let's also get the hard hat extension. So just type in hard hat Ethers, click on the first one, click on the fourth one that says Solidity, Binomic Foundation, and install. Hit accept. And let's get back to our contract. So now let's just make sure that we have both of these installed. We have both Solidity and Solidity Binomic Foundation both installed. You can also start it with running an installation command in your terminal, as you can see. And now that we have the dependencies, let's look at actually how the setup works. So to compile your contract, you're going to run npx hardhat compile. To test, you run npx hardhat test. And now let's create our file. So go into contracts and create a .sol file. So for ours, we name it dashboard.sol. So first thing you want to do is set the pragma Solidity version. We just do the -0.8 instead of having to continuously. I used to continuously just use the updated pragma version, but as long as you use 0.8 you should be fine. Next thing that we're going to do is actually name the contract. And if we were going to inherit Open Zeppelin or inherit some other contract, this is when we would use, in this case, dashboard is, and we would inherit that contract from something else, but we're not going to do that here. Next we're going to create a struct. We've done structs in the past with Rust and with Golang. So structs are similar, especially to Rust. So you're going to name the uint. So because we're creating a struct for a dashboard that integrates spreadsheets, first thing that we're going to do is get like a uint for like an ID or some kind of digit. We're just doing 4 different value types. But the more robust your data gets, the more value types you can use. Especially if you're working with large data sets, then you might have multiple structs or structs with 8, 9, 10 different data types. But for now, we're just going to do 4. 3 are going to be strings. So the way to create it is you're going to set the type. So we set type string. And then for the first one, we set type uint 256. And again, you can add more variables as you see fit. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, as well as the notification bell. I try to make videos every single day, making a full-scale video at least once a week, if not more. Next, let's create a mapping. Basically what this mapping is, it's going to tie the address for the user to their individual spreadsheet. So as the dashboard gets larger, people might have multiple spreadsheets, but it's really just from mapping one individual spreadsheet to one address. So as you can see here, we're mapping our address to our spreadsheet data, and it's going to be public. Next, let's create a function for updating our spreadsheet data. Before we do that, let's just change the name of our contract. Just to be more specific, we're going to name it Analytics Dashboard. No, right. Spreadsheet data is now the name of the struct. And I'm sorry, we named the contract analytics, not analytics data. So now we're creating that function for updating our spreadsheet data. And we're going to call that uint256. We're going to use underscore val. The reason why we're using underscore val is because the value has already been defined. And then we do the same thing for the other value or the other value, and then the two variables. We'll create underscores for those as well. And because they're strings, we're going to store them as string memory. Basically what that means is that it's just being stored temporarily. It's going to be an external contract. And next we're going to create our user spreadsheet. We're going to call message.sender. That's just the person that is creating the spreadsheet. And then we're going to call those values from our struct. So our val1, our val2, and our two variables. Now that we've created our smart contract, now let's compile it. So as you can see, we ran npx hardhat compile and it's compiled. So the next thing that we're going to do is create a folder called scripts. This is where we're going to deploy our smart contract. So in our script folder, let's create a file called deploy.js. And first thing that we're going to do is run const ethers, initializing ethers into our project and hardhat as well. So we're going to do const ethers require hardhat. Now let's run an async function. First thing that we're going to do is initialize our contract. So let's do const dashboard. Well, we're going to change the name to analytics dashboard. Change the name of our .sol and our contract, which we honestly in practice you don't really need to change the name of the .sol. You really just have to change the name of the contract. And as I said before, we're going to initialize the name of our contract. So let's run const analytics dashboard. We're going to do await ethers dot, and then we're going to run get contract factory. And then in that, input the name of our contract. What this will do is deploy our contract. Next, let's run const new dashboard. This will initialize a new dashboard. And we're going to deploy. Next, let's get our transaction hash. So we're getting a new hash. So we're going to run new dashboard.deploy transaction hash. And now let's get that transaction hash that we just deployed. running transaction receipt equals await.ethers.provider. That wait for transaction, and then putting our transaction hash in there. And we're just going to console.log that. And just put contract is deployed and get the address. As well as the transaction receipt. The final thing we're gonna do is run main.catch, and basically this is just, if you ever work with any async function, this is basically just a way to catch any kind of errors that we get. And we'll catch any errors. And we'll just exit the process if we catch any errors. Alright, so now that that's done, let's deploy our contract. So we go to terminal, run task. We're going to find hard hat. And it's not in there specifically, but we're just going to write it out. First thing we do is run node. What this will do is give us our 10 addresses. And then finally, we're going to deploy our script. And we're just deploying it locally. Bam. Alright, the last thing that we're going to do is create a test file. Just call it dashboard test.js. And there's our test code. And then we're just going to run a sample spreadsheet initialization. Subscribe for more.